Welcome back, Untitled students. Mr. L here once again. Today we're going to continue our GUI learning by creating a basic framework of some cookie clicker style game interactions. Now, cookie clicker is a classic example of a clicker idle style game. You'll be creating your own interpretation, your own inspired design in that similar vein. But I just want to make sure we understand some of the ways to implement the basic functionality as we get more comfortable with using this GUI JFrame stuff. So I'm going to start this project by actually importing my cookie image. I'm going to set a label kind of in the middle of my screen, and I'm going to change this to cookie. And I'm going to be setting my icon to an image that I've already found previously. Let me just pull up my URL here. Awesome. I got this beautiful cookie. And I'm going to get rid of the text beside it. So here's my label. And now one thing that I notice is that if I try and make this boundary kind of more in line with where the cookie is, it works nicely when it wraps vertically, but not so much horizontally. There's a setting down here that says, if I can remember where this is, not that one there. A horizontal alignment right here. I want to make my horizontal alignment center so that when I move it sideways, it brings it in closer. So we won't get it exactly perfect. I'm not going to take the time to edit all the little dimensions here, but there we go. The interactable range should be right around where that cookie is so that I'll be able to click on it in my cookie clicker game. All right, so I got my cookie. Its variable name is set to cookie. I have the image in a nice size, and let's just create a title for this here, label that says click the cookie. And we'll quickly edit some of the information here. I won't go into this for too long. Let's make this nice and big. And I don't know, this seems like a fun font. Click the cookie. And it's not really standing out, so let's make this pop a little bit. Foreground, let's have it this lovely green color. Click the cookie. All right, a nice title for the game here. Thinking about presenting it well to our users. A lot of work to go for this, probably. And so we have our cookie that can be clicked on, and I want to have some functionality that actually displays how many times the cookie has been clicked on. So I'm going to create one more label down here. And well, first I'm going to call this, just so I know what this is the title. And down here, this label is going to be our cookie count, our cookie count label. And in it, I initially want to say cookie, can't spell cookie today, clicked. Or maybe we'll say cookies clicked 0. We'll set that as our initial value, set it nicely kind of centered down over here. And what I want to have happen is for this to be updated whenever this cookie is clicked on. Under events, we're going to go to mouse clicked. Whenever the mouse is clicked on this, I want some event to occur. So I'm going to click on this, and back over here in my code, I'm just going to, in my source, take out some of this stuff. Oh, thanks for popping that up there, program. Awesome. And think about what it is that I want to add into my code here. So in my design, I have now added in a option, cookie mouse clicked. When the mouse is clicked on the cookie, I want it to change some information in this cookie count object. Cookie count when a cookie is clicked on. So I'll be adding in that code soon, but first I need to set up a few things. In this class here, I need to have some private variables that I'll be working with. I'm going to start by assigning my count to initially start at 0. I'm going to create a string called a count string that I'm just going to initialize as being empty, but this is going to be the string that will be printed out to show what my count is. And that might be all that I need for now. So once I have my cookie clicked, then I need it to be able to update my counter, this cookie counter down here. And so I'm going to create a custom method right down below here. I can make this private actually, because it's only going to be run within this code itself. Private, and we'll call this counter update. So the idea is that each time the cookie is clicked on, counter update is going to be accessed and then updating. Now, I could put the counter update information within my mouse clicked, but I'm thinking ahead to later on where I'm actually going to want to be able to update my counter later on in my code from different sources than just clicking on the cookie. So that means that creating the method right now is going to save me some time in the long run. So in counter update, when counter update is accessed, I'm going to increase count by 1. And what I want to do is I want to be able to take this number and pass it over into the display of my counter here. So my count string is going to equal the value of this count number. I'm going to access the string class and then turn this integer into a string and assign it to count string. And then what I'm going to be doing is setting the text of my cookie count. I'm going to set the text to, well, I still want to have this text here, cookies. Actually, I'm going to change one thing here. For my game, I want this to say cookies owned, just because of the game mechanics I'm thinking of, the way I want to communicate that. So I'm going to keep that same thing here. Cookies owned, and then I'm going to add to this my count string. Now, one thing that we could actually do here to save a step is we can actually just add count, because we're going to do something called concatenation, where it's going to actually turn this to a string automatically anyway. It's always a good idea to remember that we can convert to string, but we have a couple options here. If we want to save ourselves some code, by starting listing a string and then adding an int to it, it will turn the int into being a part of the string automatically. Cool. So what we have now here is every time the mouse is clicked, I want to run a counter update. If we run this, hopefully everything pops up here nicely. That is an awful color choice. And when I click on my cookie, each time I click, cookies owned is updated accordingly. Each time I click it. Let's just double check where this boundaries are. It looks like the boundaries are working correctly. Got a little bit of a lag going on in mine here. Interesting. But otherwise, the functionality seems to be working pretty well. Okay, so there's our first setup. In the next tutorial, we're going to be adding on a functionality of something called a timer, which is going to automatically click for us in a predetermined manner. And I'm also going to change this color to something more palatable by then as well. See you in the next one.